Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Chris Francis, and welcome to Kingdom Wholesaling. Kingdom Wholesaling is a channel where we talk about primarily wholesaling, but also a few other creative strategies in real estate. We are based in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia, directly out of Virginia Beach. Um, but we wholesale in um, the majority of the area, so Norfolk, Portsmouth, Chesapeake, all the way as far as Williamsburg and parts of Suffolk also. And today, as you can see in the title, we're going to talk about how not to wholesale unless you know what you're doing, right? So this is something that you could do um, once you have a little bit more experience and you are a little bit more familiar with the game. So typically, if you're wholesaling, I'm not sure about how much you know in particular, but generally when you're wholesaling, you do your marketing, you get contacted by a seller, or you contact the seller, and then you speak with them, you lock the property up under contract, and then you start marketing the property out to your cash buyers. So here's where this particular story gets a little bit interesting. So I did the kind of the reverse, right? So I got the property, and I already had the appointment. I had the appointment on this particular property on a Friday. So I went and viewed the property, checked it out. I knew what the sellers wanted. It was a rental for them, and that's what it had been for them the entire time they owned it. So it was an investment property. It was in pretty good condition. Had just been recently vacated by the previous renters, and the sellers had just moved out of the area, and so they were trying to get rid of the property because it's too far for them to manage now, and they self-manage. So that was their motivation for getting rid of the property. um, so I went out there, saw the property, got my pictures and everything, got a price, and typically I do a contract for a certain amount of time. These particular sellers wanted the deal to be done a little bit quicker than I normally do it. And so that was my first motivation for doing things in the order in which I did them. So generally, I would, as I said before, put the property under contract and then send it out to my buyers. What I did in this case is I called one specific buyer that I deal with on a regular basis. He and I have a great rapport, and we've done a number of deals together. And as a matter of fact, this particular buyer, the largest deal I ever did personally, without JVing with anybody, just myself, my deal from beginning to end. This particular buyer is the buyer that purchased that property and that deal from me. So I know he's not afraid to spend money. I know he has cash on hand, and I know what he's looking for. So, and again, we have a great rapport. He also knows what I do. He knows how I do it, and when you do things out of order like this, you have to be very, very sure that if you're gonna do it, you do it with somebody that knows exactly how you do business. So I contacted him prior to me actually having a signed contract on the property. So I contacted him, I think Friday evening, and told him about it. I knew it was a good property for him because it's in the same area that he's purchased other properties from me. So I knew it was an area that he liked, and because of the area in particular, this house was only good as a rental. It's not something that you would rehab or flip. So I knew from the beginning, it was going to be a buy and hold cash buyer that bought the property anyway. So I called him, sent him the address, and I knew that the sellers would be out there Saturday morning, and they gave me a window from 9 to 12 in which they would be there. So I told him to meet me out there Saturday morning. I got out there about 11:20ish. He got there about 11:30. When I got there, the sellers were already gone. So I called them and said, hey, I'm here. And they apologized. They said, hey, Chris, we had an emergency. Our kids called. We needed to get back home. We had to go. But they told me that there was a key and a lockbox in the backyard. So I went back there. The lockbox was open. There was no key. So now my buyer comes and we can't get into the property, right? So, he was just happy to be able to see the property. He looked through the windows. he was pretty satisfied already. But just for the sake of being able to get him inside, I wanted to get him inside. So the sellers actually wound up coming back out to the property later and putting another key in the lockbox, changed the lockbox code, and so there was a key on the property. At which point I called him back, told him the key was out there. He went and looked at it, and my buyer was actually ready to give me an EMD. He was ready to sign an assignment contract and write me a check for the EMD Saturday when we were out there. I didn't take it from him because I didn't want to get that far ahead of myself. Because again, I still hadn't had the contract locked up. But I did know, that the sellers were pretty motivated. We'd already talked price. So I knew where they were, and I had already given my buyer a price, so he knew where I was. So again, when you do that, you can do it. You just have to be very, very sure of who you're doing it with. You've got to be very sure. If there's any doubt that the person that you're dealing with is shady in any way, if you think there's a possibility of them going behind your back or around you to the seller, do not do this. Do not do this in normal circumstances. Again, my primary motivation was because the sellers in this case wanted a quicker close than I normally do on my contracts. So I did it this way. Normally I would write the contract up, give myself X amount of time, and then I would start marketing out, to my cash buyers, and even probably get a higher price than I did. And I'm gonna make $10,000 on this one, but I know I possibly could have made a little bit more if I'd have marketed it out, to other buyers. But because they wanted a quicker close, a shorter contract, I called him because I knew he would like it. I knew he would take it. I know he has the cash, and I know he can close very, very quickly. So I hope that helped you all. And if it did, hey, again, welcome to the channel. And again, this was how not to wholesale. So I hope it helps you, but you can do it. It is possible. And this is just one of the things that are possible once you kind of learn the business, learn your market, learn the field a little bit, and like, share, subscribe. This is the first video on the channel, and you guys can we'll be back to do more. So if you'd like to link up, if you're in the area, again, this is the Kingdom Wholesaling channel. You can reach us here at kingdomwholesaling.com. I'm Chris Francis. You can reach me directly, 757-572-6941. If you're in the area, you want a JV, you have a deal locked up, you don't have any buyers, hey, don't be afraid to reach out. you know, we work with everybody. So thank you again. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you again, okay? Please comment below also. And I hope this helps you. Thank you.